Have you ever heard the sermon, "Where will you spend your eternity, in heaven or in hell?" It's a common teaching in many churches today. The idea is that the moment a person dies, they are immediately judged and sent either to heaven for eternal bliss or to hell for eternal torment. Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27 is often quoted to support this belief. And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this, the judgment. If you've heard this teaching, maybe you believe it, or have even taught it yourself. But here's something to consider. John chapter 3 verse 16 tells us that everlasting life is only for those who put faith in Jesus Christ, while those who don't will perish, be destroyed. So, does the Bible contradict itself? Is Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27 true, while John chapter 3 verse 16 is false? Or is John chapter 3 verse 16 true, while Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27 is false? Or could it be that both are true, but the common interpretation of Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27 is completely wrong? Let's explore this. What does the Bible really teach? What is death? Before we can understand Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27, we need to understand death itself. Many people see death as a transition to another form of existence. Some think of it as moving to another realm, either paradise or torment. But the Bible paints a very different picture. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5 tells us, "The living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing at all." The dead are not conscious. They have no thoughts, no awareness, no experiences. Genesis chapter 3, verse 19, describes death as a return to dust. When Adam sinned, God told him, "For dust you are, and to dust you will return." There was no mention of an eternal soul departing for another realm. Death is simply the end of life, returning to non-existence. Even Jesus compared death to sleep in John chapter 11, verses 11 to 14 when he spoke about Lazarus. If Lazarus had already gone to heaven or hell, why would Jesus say he was sleeping? Clearly, death is a state of unconsciousness, not a transition to another existence. Now, if the dead are unconscious, how can they be judged immediately after dying? That wouldn't make sense, would it? This brings us to Job chapter 14, verse 14, a scripture that sheds light on how we should understand Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. Death as a compulsory service. In Job chapter 14, verse 14, Job asks, "If a man dies, can he live again? I will wait all the days of my compulsory service until my relief comes." Job describes death as a compulsory service, something mandatory that all humans must go through. But what does he mean by that? Think about a country that requires its young citizens to undergo compulsory service, whether in the military, a government program, or community service. This isn't optional. It's an appointed time of service that must be completed before they can move on to the next stage of life. Imagine a young man eager to start his dream job. However, his country mandates that he must first complete 2 years of national service. No matter how much he wishes to skip ahead, he must finish this phase before he can move forward. Death is like that. It's an appointed phase that every human must go through a mandatory period before moving on to the next stage of existence. Now, let's bring this back to Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. When it says, "After this, the judgment," does it mean judgment happens immediately at death? Or does it mean judgment happens only after one has completed the full service of death? Does judgment happen immediately at death? Let's go back to our illustration. Imagine the young man's uncle, a CEO of a prestigious company, promises him a high-paying job, but only after he completes his compulsory service. When exactly will he get the job? The moment he is enlisted? While he is still serving? Or only after he has completed his service and received a certificate of completion? The answer is obvious. He gets the job only after his service is complete. It's the same with death. When Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27 says, "After this, the judgment," it does not mean judgment happens immediately when a person dies. Death itself is the compulsory service all humans must undergo. Judgment happens only after death is completed. So the next question is, when is death completed? When does judgment actually happen? When does judgment actually happen? Jesus provides the answer in John chapter 5, verses 28 to 29. "Do not be amazed at this, for the hour is coming, in which all those in the memorial tombs will hear his voice, and come out those who did good things to a resurrection of life, and those who practiced vile things to a resurrection of judgment. Did you notice something? Jesus says that all those in the tombs are still there, waiting. They have not yet faced judgment. It is only after they hear his voice and come out of their graves that they are judged. This is confirmed again in Revelation chapter 20, verse 13. And the sea gave up the dead in it, and death and the grave gave up the dead in them, and they were judged individually according to their deeds. Clearly, judgment does not happen immediately after death, but only after resurrection. This is exactly what Job believed. In Job chapter 14, verse 14 to 15, he expressed faith that he would wait in death until the time came when God would call him back to life. You will call, and I will answer you. You will long for the work of your hands. A just and merciful judgment. If judgment were to happen immediately at death, it would mean that some people have been suffering in hell or enjoying heaven for thousands of years before even facing an official judgment. That wouldn't be just, would it? Instead, the Bible describes a fair and orderly process. People die and enter a state of unconsciousness. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5. They remain in their graves, waiting. Job chapter 14, verse 14. John 5:28. At the appointed time, Jesus calls them back to life. John 5:29. Only then are they judged. Revelation chapter 20, verse 13. What does this mean for us? If judgment happens after resurrection, then the real question is not what happens when you die, but what will happen during the judgment. But what exactly is Judgment Day? Is it a day of terror or a time of hope? Who will be judged, and on what basis? Should we fear it, or is it something to look forward to? If you've ever wondered about these questions, I invite you to watch my video, Judgment Day, a time to fear or to look forward to. Let's explore the truth together.